Hello Galactic family, choose love not fear. Love not fear is at the heart of any solution to overcoming the conspiracy of control or the NWO New World Order which has grown in the darkness around us. It may sound trite, it may sound hippie-ish, it may sound soppy, but that is only if you don't recognize and have forgotten the power of love. The truth is that love is the most powerful force in the universe. Love equal power. They are one and the same thing. There's nothing soppy about power. When you love, a powerful energy flows through your body and emanates strongly from you. Your heart pumps excitedly and enthusiastically, elevating your mood as the rightful leader of your body. Love is power, and the powerful cannot be deceived or controlled. The heart is the body's leader. We are meant to live from the heart, to use it as our chief guide. The heart needs to lead if we are to be in balance. The brain is a magnificent computer and tool which can create miracles when it acts as a servant for the heart. However, for most of us, we have forgotten this basic truth and live our lives mostly from our brains, especially the left brain, which is the masculine logical side. Like government, the brain is an excellent servant but a terrible master. The fall of man written and spoken about in many religious and cultural traditions is the fall from the heart to the brain, the loss of love, power and connection to the infinite. The true power of the heart. Science is beginning to prove the true power of the heart. Scientist Roland M.C. Crady writes that, compared to the electromagnetic field produced by the brain, the electrical component of the heart's field is about 60 times greater in amplitude, and permeates every cell in the body. The magnetic component is approximately 5,000 times stronger than the brain's magnetic field and can be detected several feet away from the body with sensitive magnetometers. For those accustomed to worshipping facts, figures, logic and reason, that is really quite astonishing information. Moreover, as the work of Drunvalo Melchizedek and Nassim Haramein shows, the heart is the center of our beings, the place from which our energetic auras, light bodies, electromagnetic fields and torus fields spring. It is the key to transcending reality, manifesting miracles and breaking free from the matrix. The brain cannot achieve this alone, no matter what it imagines. It must be fired and energized by the power of the heart. Love not fear. Choose love not fear. Love expands and connects. Fear contracts and separates. When we repeatedly choose fear over love, we unconsciously invite tyranny and all forms of darkness to gain a greater foothold in our hearts, minds, communities and countries. The NWO controllers know this very well and have exploited people throughout the millennia by inducing them into states of fear. Nowadays the broadcasting of fear has become the obvious modus operandi of the mainstream media, which is owned by the same group of people running the world. They know that the billions tuning into CNN, BBC or whatever other broadcaster of fear will ultimately have their brains and hearts attuned to some form of fear, anxiety, worry, hatred, anger, self-pity, etc. Overcome the conspiracy by attending to your inner world. To truly resist the NWO and stand up for freedom, you need to pay more attention to the inner world than the outer world. Yes, it is important to raise awareness about GMOs, chemtrails and governmental deception. Yes, it is important to expose corruption and hold tyrants accountable. But, if you do all of this choosing fear more than love, the conspiracy will never end. Even if the NWO is defeated, some other kind of tyranny will immediately jump in to fill the gap. Only when a critical mass of people consistently choose love not fear can the conspiracy of control finally come to an end and each of us is responsible for our own inner state. In this way, Each and every wonderful and unique individual has the power to make choices and play his or her part in restoring freedom to the world. Just be yourself unreservedly. You'll inspire others to do the same. What the conspirators fear most is people who have no fear. We must remember the tremendous power people gain when they simply decide to be themselves and stop holding back. All of us hold back on some level. Maybe we're scared about being vulnerable by expressing our feelings too much. That's a big one. So many societies are characterized by emotional repression, East or West, black or white, be it England, Germany, Australia, Thailand or Japan. In particular, the British ideal of a stiff upper lip has only wrought untold misery upon those who regularly stuff their feelings and live lives of quiet desperation. Holding back through fear of failure or not fitting in? Maybe we're scared because we're worried about failing. However, we define what failure is. Einstein once said that anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried something new. Edison had a great way of looking at it when he said, upon being asked how about repeatedly failing to design a working light bulb, that I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Alternatively, maybe we're scared about what others will think. That can be a huge trap. Humans are undeniably social creatures, and it seems that we have a very strong primal instinct for acceptance, to fit in as part of the herd. If that need is not tempered with self-knowledge and the courage to be who we really are, then it can lead to passivity and the desire to not want to rock the boat, and is easily manipulated by the NWO New World Order conspirators against us. It is hard to sum it up better than the words of Marianne Williamson, who wrote that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us. It's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Be yourself no matter what situation you are in. Therein lies the real secret to ending the NWO and the conspiracy of control that is threatening to enslave the entire planet. As you truly be yourself, without reservation, then that ignites a spark in others and helps them to the same. What the conspirators fear most is people who have no fear, who decide to express themselves fully and be themselves completely. These kind of people cannot be controlled. They resist conformity, uniformity and meek obedience. They do not engage in unquestioning submission to authority, nor are they easily corrupted, perverted or tricked into carrying out orders or just doing their job. They know their actions count, and they are not going to let themselves be used to bring into existence, or enforce, a totalitarian global dictatorship. Overcome the global conspiracy, born original, don't die copy. Be yourself, nobody else can. Be yourself, every other self is taken. Be yourself unreservedly. Make no apologies to anyone for who we really are. Don't set up any inner tension or struggle by denying the magnificence, power, beauty and reality of who you are. Don't conform for the sake of conformity. The pain you will feel from being an authentic far outweighs any possible gain you get from hiding your light or pretending to be someone you're not. Once enough of us decide to be ourselves, The global conspiracy will crumble because it is only supported by the shoulders of the ignorant, by those who have forgotten they are infinitely powerful. 3. Govern yourself. Government today is dangerous, tyrannical and out of control. If you govern yourself, you become more free and reduce the need for outside authority or government, feel more empowered and less overwhelmed when facing the New World Order NWO conspiracy. What does it mean to govern yourself? To govern yourself is to take care of your life, affairs, livelihood, relationships, everything, all without needing outside help or interference. It means you are independent, responsible and self-sufficient. It doesn't mean you have to do everything for yourself, live in an isolated place, grow all your own food and have no contact with the outside world. People have been trading and interacting since the dawn of man. But it does mean that when you trade you do it fairly and honorably, keeping your agreements and not using deceit. As long as you steal, lie or cheat others, they will feel wronged by you, and seek to redress that wrong. This means they may appeal to outside authorities to do this, which brings in the whole concept of government. To truly govern yourself means to ensure all your relationships are conducted with integrity, so that no one would ever have the need to sue you, bring a claim against you or even bring in some kind of outside authority to resolve a dispute with you. You would work things out with anyone before it got to that point. When you truly govern yourself, the need for an outside governing force disappears. If you take responsibility for yourself, you don't need others or so-called representatives trying to taking responsibility for you, and therefore asserting control over you. Why is it important to govern yourself? When you govern yourself, you take matters into your own hands. You start with the person in the mirror. Remember, the biggest sphere of influence you can control is your own thoughts, words and actions. You can't control backroom deals made by corrupt politicians on the world stage, but you can ensure you conduct your business and personal life in a just and honest way. Think about it: if everyone started governing themselves, they would resolve disputes among themselves, thus eliminating the need for so many rules and regulations. In short, it would reduce dependence on the law. We would have less need for law, less need for police to enforce the law and less need for courts and judges to adjudicate the law. This automatically equates to less tyranny. There's a direct formula here: increase self-responsibility, increase self-freedom. Or simply, increase responsibility, increase freedom. Additionally, if people started to govern themselves better, it would include critical thinking. You can't outsource critical thinking, although it appears that's what Rockefeller-funded mainstream education curricula are trying to trick us into doing. See the deliberate dumbing down of America. You have to think for yourself. No one can think for you. Governing yourself means thinking for yourself and carefully evaluating what information comes your way. Those who govern themselves are far less susceptible to deceptive propaganda and brainwashing, upon which tyrannies like the NWO depend. When you end ignorance, you'll end the control system, too. If you govern yourself, will you really overcome the conspiracy? If you govern yourself, you'll be more sovereign. The amount of government control over you will diminish. When enough of us do this and we reach a critical mass, society will change. The size of government will shrink, either disappearing altogether or at least becoming very limited in scope, as was the original intention in the setting up of the United States of America and other nations. Remember, it is your responsibility to investigate and understand the forces governing you. Once you take your power back and do everything you can to better manage your own affairs and life, you'll be amazed at how more free you are, and you'll inspire others to help overcome the conspiracy we all face. 4. Choose your vibration. Although there is a worldwide conspiracy, dark forces control the world and things look bleak, you ultimately have the power to overcome all of that. It all starts with you realizing that if you more consciously choose what you feel, you will begin to experience different things in your life. Be proactive and decide to choose the attitude and emotion with which you greet every single person or situation in your life. In short, you will create a different reality. The more you master this, the less you will be able to be controlled. Everything is energy. Everything in the universe is energy. Matter is just energy slowed to a slow rate. Energy vibrates at different frequencies. We are beings of energy too, since we are a part of the universe, and our emotions are a big part of what drives us and how we express our energy. We have all been taught and we are accustomed to believing that outside events dictate our emotions. For instance, a branch falls down and smashes your car window, you feel sad, angry. You inherit money, you feel happy. Your boss fires you, you feel devastated. You find a new girlfriend or boyfriend, you feel happy. You keep getting stopped at red lights, you feel irritated. It's almost like we are pieces of computer software walking around with pre-programmed responses, just waiting to get triggered. It's a form of mind control. Politicians know all about mind control, and that's why they always appeal to fear to get votes. And if there's no threat, they conjure up a boogeyman like Bin Laden or a false flag operation like 9/11, the Batman Aurora shooting, the Sandy Hook shooting, or the Boston Marathon bombing. They manipulate your vibration for you, so they can gain from it. What if you actually chose what to feel, rather than letting outer events dictate to you? One of the greatest secrets held by those at the helm of the global conspiracy, the elite bloodlines with esoteric knowledge running the NWO New World Order, is that you can choose your vibration. In other words, you can proactively choose what your frequency or energy expression is. You are a creator, like every other human. You can decide what feeling or emotion to adopt, proactively rather than reactively. It doesn't have to be fake. It doesn't have to be something you just conjured up, although you may need to do this a lot at first until it becomes more natural, hence the expression fake it till you make it. Overcome the global conspiracy, Nikola Tesla, vibration energy. I'm not talking about hiding or suppressing genuine sadness or pain by putting on a happy face. That's just repression. The world is full of it and it leads to nothing but suffering. I'm talking about choosing your emotion, feeling, attitude, belief, everything, your entire vibration when you are faced with a new circumstance in your life. That way, you include the whole package. You choose your vibration, and magically, it actually transforms what happens to you. By responding with more love, trust and compassion to any person or situation, you turn every problem into a challenge or opportunity. For instance, a branch hits your car and you respond with gratitude, thank God I wasn't in there when it hit. Then with trust, that car was starting to get old and I was starting to need a new one. Who knows what could be around the corner? Every time something is destroyed, it opens the door for something new, which we usually cannot see. The more you choose your vibration, the more free you become. The more that you master the flexibility, inner strength and positive attitude required in choosing your vibration, the more free you'll be. The less you'll fall the programmed messages of fear being constantly broadcast by the mainstream media. When enough of us choose our vibrations, a lot of the time, the entire control grid of tyranny will collapse, because it's propped up by our fear. As it stands, we unconsciously feed it with our vibrations of fear. Once we start emitting higher vibrations, such as those of love and trust, you become difficult or impossible to control, because your reaction response cannot be predicted, and because those who love are not dependent on some outside force to provide safety or security the way that those who fear are. The ultimate secret of the conspiracy. When you boil it all down, the NWO controllers only rule over us because we have not stepped into our own power. We have forgotten we are all God, we are all sovereign beings, and we are all creators who have the power to manifest the reality of our choosing. The elite want you to think you are nothing but a slightly more advanced animal than a monkey, born to work, consume and die. You are a master creator in disguise. Wake up. You can create whatever you want, and you can choose your vibration. When enough of us do that, we will overcome the conspiracy. 5. Create a new system rather than resisting the old one. Every human has the potential to be a master creator, so it's essential to put our attention on what we want, not what we don't want. We need to focus and create a new system rather than just resisting the old one. Don't spend all your time resisting the old one, or else you'll unwittingly feed it and keep it alive. Although the current setup is really not serving us, if we spend all our creative energy only by complaining how bad it is and hurling anger at it, it's never going to change. We need to focus on what comes next and create a new system. Create a new system to make the old obsolete. It was the late great inventor and systems theorist Buckminster Fuller who said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." Bucky showed a deep understanding of the fact that we are master creators, each and every human on the planet, and that we tend to create, manifest or attract what we focus on. Another way of saying this is the Hawaiian proverb of energy flows where attention goes. What you most focus on, especially if it is with intense emotion, you will end up creating in your life, including both the things you love and the things you fear. Therefore, the last thing we want to do is perpetuate the gross injustice and callousness of the current system by focusing too much attention on it. There has been a great deal of effort by numerous conspiracy researchers, whistleblowers and alternative journalists to expose the flagrant corruption and deception taking place across the planet, from the parasitic banking system to the NWO cabal that funds both sides of wars and politics. We have discovered, to our horror, that everything is rigged. Government, as well as the media, the military, education and entertainment industries have been hijacked by a connected group of powerful people at the top who are intent on bringing the earth under their heel and global domination. The first step is wake up to the truth. It's to expose, to shed light, to provoke. That is in the process of being done. The next step is create a new system. If we were to create a new system, what would it be? One way of creating a new system would be to ensure that our leaders actually followed the U.S. Constitution. This would include stripping the U.S. federal government of many of its agencies and illegal powers it has amassed over the centuries. Two especially important things would be to rein in and either disassemble or drastically reduce the military-industrial complex, including the spy agencies like the NSA. Incidentally, Eisenhower warned us about the massive danger of the rise of the military-industrial complex in his farewell speech. JFK was so tired of it he reportedly said he would bust the CIA into 1,000 pieces, but they in league with others managed to assassinate him first. The other important thing would be to regain control of the currency, and restore the printing of money and minting of coin purely to Congress, and kick out the private international banksters and the Federal Reserve for good. However, I suggest we go beyond just these measures to create a new system of abundance by harnessing free energy. Free energy is the game turner, the match winner. It's the secret that is so big it would revolutionize the planet overnight, if enough people knew about it and demanded it. There are a plentiful array of free energy devices that have been proven to have worked, but have been shut down and confiscated by the shadow government. If humanity could manage to develop them and spread them around the planet in such a way that the plans and devices could not be seized, everyone in every household could then generate all their energy, and our dependence on oil and fossil fuels would collapse. Overcome the global conspiracy, Buckminster Fuller, change system. Spreading the truth about free energy holds the most potential to create a new system. Free energy could give humanity at large the most benefit out of any new proposed system, and in my opinion, needs to form a cornerstone of any new system we create. Imagine the results if enough people put their determined focus on making free energy an affordable reality for everyone on the planet. The current power structure would collapse, and be so obsolete that we wouldn't have to worry about exposing its darkness any longer. I also recommend the movie Thrive, which did a good job in outlining solutions to the new world order and global tyranny we face. 6. Convert fear into awareness. In order to master dealing with the New World Order NWO conspiracy, it is crucial to convert fear into awareness so you handle the shocking truth without being afraid. Part of the problem of dealing with something as dark and evil as the New World Order is that you can get sucked into it. If you spend too much energy or focus fighting or resisting the NWO, you're on the wrong track. Whatever you fight, you become. Whatever you resist, persists. Trying to overcome the NWO head-on by meeting it with anger will backfire, because when it comes to hate and violence, no one is any match for it. The New World Order thrives on violence. Look at the way police are being militarized and mobilized against their own people, the individuals they swore in many cases to protect. By rioting and acting aggressively, you merely give corrupt politicians an excuse to use violence against you, and they will win, because they have more money, arms and force in that arena. Why challenge an enemy in an area where he is stronger? The secret is to convert fear into awareness. The key to dealing with the massive amount of darkness is to be aware of it without being afraid of it. Being aware is like walking a tightrope between two extremes: the extreme of being overwhelmed, scared and disempowered. There's nothing I can do about the scale of darkness, so I'm just going to ignore it, versus the extreme of being sucked in, angry and hateful. I'm going to fight the corruption tooth and nail. We need to shine the light of truth on the unlawful activities of the elite, so that people will stop falling for the deception, and so that these horrific crimes can be healed, whether it be democide, government killing its own citizens, child trafficking or mind control. It's vital that researchers, truth-tellers and whistleblowers keep shining the light, but it must be done with consciousness. It's natural to feel scared when you realize the immense amount of money, power and technology the elite are hoarding, and have weaponized to use against the masses. However, if you continually feel afraid of them, you will be paralyzed and unable to act to create something better. Likewise, it's natural to feel angry and outraged at the injustices perpetrated against humanity at large by the NWO controllers, but if you prolong that anger and keep holding on to it, rather than using it as a brief impetus to correct the injustice, it will start poisoning us from the inside out. In that sense, the NWO is inside all of us. You can handle the truth if you convert fear into awareness. If you allow yourself to be consumed by fear or anger, you are being driven by exactly the same force that drives the minds of the ruthless, cruel and psychopathic leaders we have. We all need to convert fear into awareness if we want to be able to withstand the shocking truth about who runs the world and how they do it. Otherwise, we will not be able to deal with the ugliness and will instead ignore it, letting it fester and grow in the darkness, until we wake up in a global dictatorship.